Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most epic showdowns you can imagine, taken straight from the Quran. We're talking about a prophet going head-to-head with a king who literally believed he was a god. So, when truth and falsehood really clash, what actually happens? We're about to explore a historic moment from the Quran that gives us a pretty powerful answer. It's a story about power, sure, but also about perception. And what happens when something so real, so true, just completely smashes the most convincing illusions anyone can cook up. All right, let's set the stage. Our story kicks off with two major forces, and they are on a direct collision course. You've got the immense, absolute worldly power of Pharaoh on one side, and on the other, the divine mission of the prophet Musa, who you might also know as Moses.
Now, to really get the stakes here, you have to understand something about Pharaoh. He wasn't just some king. Oh no, he saw himself as a god. So you can imagine when Musa shows up with a message from an authority that's higher than him, well, that's not just a simple disagreement. That is a direct challenge to his entire identity.
So instead of maybe taking a second to think about the signs Musa was showing him, Pharaoh's arrogance just took over. He decides to make a whole public spectacle out of it. It's like he thought, oh yeah, you've got a miracle? I'll fight that with my own power. And so he calls in the big guns, the best, most skilled illusionists in the entire kingdom, all to put on a show and prove his might.
And this brings us to the main event. A huge festival day is chosen for the showdown. The stage is set. Thousands of people are gathered, totally buzzing with anticipation for this ultimate contest of power. I mean, the whole reputation of the kingdom was on the line. The contrast here is just so stark. On one side, you have this huge group of magicians, the absolute best in the land, backed by the full power of the state. And on the other side, just Musa, one man with a simple wooden staff standing on the strength of his faith alone.
Okay, so the showdown begins. The magicians go first, and they put on an incredible display. They throw down their ropes and staffs, and to the eyes of the crowd, the ground just comes alive with writhing snakes, a truly powerful illusion. But then, Musa casts his staff, and here's the thing, it doesn't just look like a serpent, it becomes one, a real, massive creature that then swallows every single illusion, clearing the field and leaving no doubt about what was real and what was not.
But what happens next? Now, that's the real heart of this story. This wasn't just about Musa winning a contest. It was about the profound, instantaneous transformation of his opponents. I mean, think about it. Who would be the best judges of what is magic versus a miracle? The master magicians themselves, of course. In that one moment, seeing their life's work, the absolute peak of their craft, just effortlessly consumed by a higher reality, they knew. This wasn't a trick. This was the signature of the divine. Just imagine the courage this took, in front of thousands of spectators, and right in front of the arrogant Pharaoh who had hired them. Their recognition of the truth was so complete, so overwhelming, that their very first impulse was to fall down in submission to the power they had just witnessed. Well, as you can guess, Pharaoh was furious. His big spectacle had backfired spectacularly. So he threatens them with the most horrific punishment you can imagine, torture and death. But it was too late. The magicians had seen the ultimate truth, and compared to that, even the threat of a gruesome death meant nothing. Their newfound faith was completely unshakable.
You know, this is so much more than just an ancient story. It's absolutely packed with timeless lessons that speak directly to our own lives and the kinds of challenges we face today.
So what's the core lesson here? Well, truth carries its own authority. Falsehood, no matter how impressive it looks, just can't compete. And isn't it interesting that it was the experts in illusion who were the first to recognize reality? Their expertise didn't lead to arrogance, it led to instant humility. And that faith, it gave them a courage that no worldly threat could break. It really shows us that the greatest victory isn't about overpowering an opponent, but about a truth so clear it can instantly transform a human heart. This leaves us with a critical question for our own time. We live in a world saturated with spectacle, convincing illusions, and all sorts of competing narratives. So the story asks us, how do we train our own hearts to tell the difference? And when we finally see the truth, will we have the courage to submit to it, no matter what the cost?